Hello? Hello? Hi, good morning, everyone. How are you? Good, that's good. I'm Jessie. My name is Jessie, and I will be one of the hosts for the breakout sessions here at Mission Fest, Manitoba. Uh, the breakout session right now is titled Reaching Kazakhstan for Christ. But before I introduce our presenter, I want you to know that the season is this one is being live streamed on YouTube channel. So if you don't get the topic, like if you're late or something, then it will be okay. You can watch the replay. And also, if you can just silent your phone or put it on a silent mode, that will be great. Thank you. I wouldn't take much of your time. I would love for him to introduce himself. Our presenters are Y and Liz M from People International. Please give them a warm Mission Fest Manitoba applause. Thank you.
Thank you. I have this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Can you hear me well? Yes. Excellent. Thank you for being here today. It was a great presentation by Brian Hogan and very inspiring and a lot of similarities what was going on in our ministry in Kazakhstan as well. And I just want to quickly say that what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about church planting, effective gospel sharing, discipling and the spiritual formation of Kazakh people. We're also going to talk about how to approach and serve Muslim community. We also talk about outreach for Northern Kazakhstan especially, and one of the least reached areas in the world, and also strategies for developing strong local church leadership. And I want to invite you to also think outside the box today during this breakout session when you can see that we, as my wife and I and our kids, when we moved to Kazakhstan 8 years ago, we were not theologically trained. We were not trained how to do missions well, but we were ready to go. And the one very important phrase which I heard came from the words of Rick Warren. He said that God doesn't call the equipped, but He equips the called. And that kind of helped us through this time in Kazakhstan. And we realized that sometimes we feel inadequate, but we can actually do things when the Lord is doing, and we are in the passenger seat, and we are just enjoying the ride with the Lord. So that's what was going on. So let me introduce myself. My name is Yerlan. I'm one of these many immigrants who moved to Canada in the last 20 years. And we moved to Vancouver, British Columbia, with our 2 children, and then the third one was born in North Vancouver. And we were not Christians when we moved to Canada. And then a few years later, both my wife and I encountered Jesus, and we felt that the Lord called us to be missionaries in our own homeland. And we went back to Kazakhstan as missionaries this time. And we are Canadian citizens, so Kazakhstan does not allow dual citizenship. So we were citizens of Canada for many years, so we don't have any other citizenships. So we had to apply as foreigners to go to Canada, or to Kazakhstan from Canada. It took a while for us to clear all the documents. So when I say I want to quickly show the picture of my lovely wife, Masha. This picture was taken in western Kazakhstan, in the city of Aktau on the Caspian Sea. And the next slide is that we married in 1998, so about 27 years ago in Kazakhstan. So I'm ethnic Kazakh, but my wife is ethnic Russian. And but her family lived in Kazakhstan for generations. In 2014, we renewed our vows. We were going through a very hard time when we actually both encountered the Lord. We were on the brink of divorce, and then a few years later, we renewed our vows, and that's a beautiful Deep Cove in North Vancouver. Also, this is our 3 children. Right now, they are 22, 19, and 16 years old. And so we were born again in Vancouver, baptized with my wife on the same day. And our church was a Valley Church in Lynn Valley in North Vancouver, our home church. So as I mentioned, we moved to Kazakhstan as missionaries in 2016. So let's go to the theme of this conference. And so the theme is, how shall they hear? And the theme of this conference actually based on the passage in Romans 10. And I want to read it because these words, this is one of the most favorite passages, verses in the Bible for me. So I'll share you why. So let's read it. So how then will they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how are they to believe in him of whom they have never heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching? And how are they to preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news. So I came to know the Lord in 2010, as it says here. And one of my discoveries at the time was that I realized that my mom, who passed away in 1991, never heard the gospel. And I was really angry at God. I was like saying, why you never let her hear the gospel? And that was my quiet time in my small room when I was praying, and then the Lord heard me. And my father, who is he's an atheist or cultural Muslim, so I'm coming from the cultural Muslim family. He called me and he said, do you remember, Yerlan, when my mom's friend from Uzbekistan flew all the way to Astana, Kazakhstan, and she was with your mom the final days? And I said, yeah, I know. I mean, my mom is a medical doctor. She's a medical doctor, so she came to help make decisions what to do with my mom's state. And then he said, no. She came all the way to read the Bible to your mom. And then he said she read the Bible to your mom for 3 days, and then the following day when she left, your mom passed away. I was actually very emotional at that time because this is the words in the Romans. My mom couldn't speak. She was in a car accident, so she was in hospital for about 12 days, but she could hear because you could see that she could hear. And so somebody who was a completely new believer, her friend just accepted Jesus maybe a few months before, and the Lord called her to fly and just read the Bible to my mom. And so that's why here in this conference, they say there are some things, like obstacles, for people to come and to know Christ. And one of the obstacles is that they never get a chance to hear the gospel, right? The other obstacle also is that the messengers are inconsistent with the truth, their lives of the messengers are inconsistent with the truth of the gospel. So with that, I'm going to go to and give you a little bit of information about Kazakhstan. I don't know, can you show me your hands, raise your hands, if you know a little bit about Kazakhstan? Okay, great. So, the Kazakhstan is ninth largest country by land in the world, and it's the largest landlocked country in the world. And last year, Kazakhstan, I believe in September, they actually reached that milestone of 20 million people in the country. And it has one of the lowest population densities in the world. So it's interesting that this longest interrupted border is not between US and Canada. It's between Russia and Kazakhstan. But if you count Alaska, then you will have the longest border between Canada and US. But uninterrupted is between Kazakhstan and Russia. So Kazakhstan means land of the wanderers, and as in Canada, Kazakhstan there has two official languages, Kazakh and Russian. And then as Canada, it's very diverse. It's 124 ethnic groups living in Kazakhstan. And about 70% of those people are ethnic Kazakhs, like me, and about 15% are ethnic Russians. And there are two cool facts about Kazakhstan. One is apples, and the second one is tulips, were originated in Kazakhstan. That's what they say. And so let's go into the religion part. So about 70% of the population, there is correlation, as you can see, between Kazakhs and the number of Muslims. So it's about 70% and 70% are Muslim. So if you are born Kazakh, that means you are automatically Muslim. So it's, that's why I think a lot of people pronounce themselves Muslims, because they are Kazakh, ethnic Kazakhs. And about 17% are Christians, and most of them are Russian Orthodox, right? And if we talk about evangelical Christians, it's about 0.2%. It's very, very few people. I just did a study recently, number of Buddhist people, for example, and evangelicals probably are represented in Kazakhstan as like Buddhist in probably Winnipeg. So, but anyway, what I'm saying is that it's very few. We have lots of different churches from different walks of life. What happened was that, so Kazakhstan's church is very, very young, and it's kind of emerged in its format, today's format, about 30 years ago, and but before we had in Kazakhstan some groups like Mennonites or Russian Baptists who were living in Kazakhstan. But when the Soviet Union collapsed, a lot of them actually left the country. So in terms of what we do, that's the main thing. And so what we've been doing the last 8 years in Kazakhstan, we planted a church. And this is an amazing story of how God can use somebody like us who are completely not done. We were not ready for that, but the Lord called us to do. And it was so beautiful to see when we partnered with a local family in Astana. And then on September, I believe, we started this church from 0 people. And then within a very short period of time, within maybe 9 months, we had over 40 people. It was incredible to see. We did nothing to actually have so many people, we believe. But people were still coming. And we had very strict rules of joining our church. We had membership, even though we were a house church. I believe if we let all the people who wanted to come, including believers, our church would be at least 150 people, maybe up to 250 people. But what we said to a lot of believers who were already in Astana, we said, please, this church is actually for Muslims or for people who are non-believers. So please stay in your churches. And we encourage them to be wherever they are. And so our church only invited people who were seeking the Lord. And, or we were building relationships with people during that time. So we also supported Christian Orphanage. We're going to talk a little bit about that. My wife, so my children, when we moved to Kazakhstan, my children are all English speakers, so their native tongue or first language is actually English. So we had hard time actually they couldn't go to local schools. And Astana has about 1.2 million people and has about 3 international schools, but they were really expensive for us. So my wife learned how to homeschool them. It was a very big challenge. And that's one of the challenges of being in the country, in the northern part. But in the southern part, it's actually a little different. There is even a school for missionary kids. So a lot of missionaries go to the south. But in terms of northern part, you would be surprised to learn that right now, so when we moved in 2016, there were about 60 missionaries working in the city of Astana. Right now, it's only 10 left. And if you look north of Astana, it's about 3 million people. There are 0 Christians. 0 missionaries. So it's very, very unreached area of this planet. In terms of, we also provided premarital counseling. We discipled new believers. We helped church leaders grow. And we also worked with graduates of the Kazakhstan foster care system. And I am economist and accountant by education. So one of the evangelical tools I was using, and I was just creating on the spot, really. I was just thinking outside the box, like, what can I do? So I started doing a lot of seminars, and people were really interested in personal finance. And I was doing it for teenagers, for grown-ups, for homeless, for different populations. And also we did lots of outreach events. And one of the things, they say that probably we were the only pastors of the church in Kazakhstan, who always we played hockey after service. So we used, in Canada, we played a lot of hockey with our kids, and then we continued that in Kazakhstan. And so we used that as an opportunity to build relationships with Muslims and local people, and also share our life and faith. We also did book clubs. We did women and men's retreat. You're going to see that. And the Christmas is a big time in Kazakhstan. There is a Russian Orthodox Christmas on the 7th of January, but we celebrate it to kind of distinguish ourselves on the 24th, 25th. So a lot of people, especially Muslims in Kazakhstan, they're very interested to learn about Christmas and what it is and why. So we use that to invite a lot of people into our church and basically tell them what is this message all about. And you can see some of the pictures. This is in the orphanage. This one, we took kids to southern Kazakhstan on a ski retreat. And then this one is one of our outreach events for Christmas. So you can see a lot of people there. So we have some challenges for the church in Kazakhstan. And that's why we're kind of inviting you to consider maybe praying for the country, maybe partnering with us. We have a stand here with People International. This organization is only laser focusing on Central Asia and Muslims specifically. So, and also maybe you could consider short-term or long-term mission trips there, and we can help you organize those. So anyways, what are the challenges? Small size, very small churches, very youthful. So we are always the oldest people in the church, and I'm 51 years old, right? And but most people are very young. And in Astana, very community focus, strong leadership influence in terms of like everybody looked up to us. And it was really, we had a huge influence on people because we were in the position of leadership in our church. And people are very mission-minded. And what I shared yesterday with some people who came to our booth is that there is no benefit to become a Christian in Kazakhstan. It's actually the opposite. So whoever comes to the church, they're really true believers and they're truly seekers. Because if you are, especially if you're ethnic Kazakh, you are persecuted for being a Christian. So that's why people who are in the church, they have this mission-minded, amazing attitude. And again, I personally believe, being now in Manitoba and living in Vancouver, I know like a lot of people, even here, who are sitting here or living in Canada, can be really instrumental in what we are doing or what other missionaries are doing in other parts of the world. You can have a mission-minded mentality here, which is amazing to see how Lord can use so many different people in His ministry. So again, we had some challenges. I mean, like financial sustainability, like our church, we couldn't collect enough tithe and offerings to actually pay salaries. So my wife and I, we were tent makers, so I had a secular job. I worked with the British Embassy, and I was actually working to bring investments from the UK to Kazakhstan. That was my secular job, and I was working in one of the architectural firms, and I was doing some accounting, financing. So basically, yeah, I mean, that's also... But what we were doing, actually, it's a full-time job, actually, to pastor a church of 40, 45 people. So it was very challenging for us to have so many roles. And so another thing is that lack of historical roots. As I said, the church is very, very young. And in terms of cultural and language barriers, a lot of people assume that Kazakhstan Russia is the same as Russia, but it's actually very different. And some, like as example, we use some of the materials for premarital counseling published in Ukraine, and they used Ukrainian hryvnia, which is their currency, with this like Western examples and using Russian names, right? But obviously it was completely irrelevant to Kazakhstan and the culture of Central Asia. So we had to kind of, on the go, remodel, rethink how we can use it, applying to local cultural traditions. And obviously language barrier is it's 2 languages, as I said. In terms of leadership development, we have that, like lots of burned out Christians there, because if you become a leader, you immediately have a lot of young believers, and you need to disciple them, you need to spend time with them. And it takes a toll, right? And it's not easy to be a leader in Kazakhstan because you are overwhelmed with how much you need to do. Engaging different generations, another thing is some older people are kind of hesitant to come to a church where all young guys are there. So in terms of legal challenges, it's one of the biggest thing. In 2011, Kazakhstan introduced this new law that you can only register a church if you have more than 50 people, a minimum 50 people, right? And they have to be Kazakh nationals, and your family, so your name will be on the website, the government website. So it's not many people can do that. So that's why when we established this church, we partnered with local churches who are registered. In terms of spiritual growth, and I mentioned as well, lack of affordable English language schooling in Northern Kazakhstan. So this is one of the examples when we used hockey, Canadian hockey. Yeah, we had a couple of families from Canada. We were bringing a lot of people. So we were always thinking outside the box, like trying to understand what is the best way, how to establish relationships with local people. Another one, I'm a member of International Medical Clinic. There is a business's mission, and we established some of the clinics so we bringing through medical care, we brought gospel. And we sent our doctors from Kazakhstan to Ukraine during the war. Also, I'm a board member of InterVarsity Kazakhstan, which also needs a lot of support. So this organization, as you might know, works with students on campuses across the country, and it lacks resources, lacks support, they don't have enough speakers, so they invite me, for example, all the time. So we talk about different issues at different universities. So as I mentioned, this is local pastors we partnered with. And again, these guys were really generous that they said, if there is a police check, if anything happens, you can, it's called Agape Church, we can say to the government authorities that we are part of Agape Church. But in the reality, we were actually were completely autonomous. And so it was like this local partnership, how it worked. In terms of like logistics, again, our church was interesting. When we grew so quickly, we realized that we wanted to hard split the church as soon as we reached about 15 people. But when we reached 45 within 9 months, like people, when we started asking them, maybe we can split, they said, no, please don't split us, because we want to have relationships with everyone. And so we came with this really, outside the box idea. So we started having 2 identical simultaneous services and 2 different homes. Remember, we don't have a building like that, so we only have our homes, our apartments. So so because of that, it was really amazing to see how people in the church grew really quickly, in terms of like you had to have 2 people preaching the same message at the 2 locations. We also had the same worship in 2 locations. We had meals at 2 locations. So the church was paying for that so we could have meals together. Our regular service lasted from 12 to 4, usually, and sometimes it went all the way to 8 o'clock on Sundays. So we also, so what happened was that we were trying to connect everyone to ministry. So, and it gave a lot of opportunities for people to learn how to serve. And so, for example, the people who were preaching that Sunday, they met the day before, so to compare the notes. And we were going through the Bible. So, yes, through the Bible. And so we were just going, let's say, through the book of John, and we were just going chapter 1, then chapter 2. We never skipped any verses, and invited everyone. There were no stupid questions. Some people were Muslims. They could ask any questions, and we would be trying to answer those questions. So another one is, like this is one of the examples you can see in this house right here. We had so many people in one room, right? And so we had to meet at 2 different locations. It was just half of the church. And also, we did some church retreats for people who were serving, to have that unity. So as you can see, we were going outside the city in the summer. This is a local orphanage. We were helping. And then also we had like different ideas. Like we had this father and daughter retreat or father and son retreat. We had like mother and daughter retreats. So we were inviting our Muslim friends or non-believers to actually join us and then spend maybe 1 day or 2 days hiking or doing something. So anyways, this is a quick one. I mean, obviously I can talk for a few hours at least here. But let me give you a little bit of time to ask any questions if you might have. Yeah, please.
I got a question.
Yes, please.
The average Kazakh, how well versed, how well educated are they in their Muslim faith?
So most Kazakhs are cultural Muslims. It's like I was growing up as a cultural Muslim. I went to mosques only when somebody died or there was something going on, like a difficult period of time. So they do not know, most of the people do not know a lot about Islam. But it's changing really rapidly, and I'm really grateful for this question, because I just want to say that just before the collapse of the Soviet Union, in the whole country of Kazakhstan, there were 46 mosques. Right now, today, it's over 2,300 mosques. So people are really searching for God, and they're trying to understand. So people actually, about 100 mosques are built every year in just one country of Kazakhstan. So, but people are learning more about Islam, but a lot of people have, like, they see, like, for example, recently we had a person who is a Muslim, practicing Muslim, who came to know the Lord just a couple of months ago. And I asked him, why did you actually convert to Christianity? And he said, I saw a lot of hypocrisy in Islam, and that's why I couldn't stand that. And that's why when I came to your church and when I saw who you are worshiping and how your lives matching what you were doing, that draw them to us. Yes?
You mentioned that there's 2,000 mosques or more. So is that because of the pull of the people, or is that because of the push onto the people of that religion?
I think it's mostly pull. We do have some Islamic missionaries money coming from Saudi Arabia or United Arab Emirates or Bahrain, and they're building those mosques. But a lot of people actually want to know what Islam is, and they are really seeking those people. So it's mostly, especially when you are facing difficult life questions about death or, illnesses and stuff, that's when people try to find out what's going on. And the first thing they do, they go into Islam. But people who are really seeking, they actually go further, and they are not satisfied with what Islam is offering. Yes?
What is the government position? Or do you have opposition from government as a Christian church?
It's a strong opposition. On paper, they say that there is freedom of religion, but in reality, so we cannot evangelize outside the church building, right? So it's like people can, for example, they could report. I was almost reported, and then we would be deported out of the country or would go to jail, right? So the government, so we can only evangelize within the church building, and there are very few church buildings there. So that's why it's important to build relationships first, and then for example, there was one situation when I was trying to build relationship in this foster care system with graduates, and then when it took me 2 or 3 years before I actually shared my faith. But then this guy, he's a young gentleman, he actually then he accepted Jesus and then started sharing this faith with other peers, and then a lot of them came to Christ. So, but the government doesn't like that, so as soon as they found out about that, I was called, and it's called House of Youth. The director immediately said, "We're going to report you if you continue doing what you're doing." And so, yeah, the government has especially in Astana, because about 500,000 people in the city are government workers or associated with the government. So strong opposition. Anyways, yeah. I want to invite you, just a quick one. So I want to say that we have a booth right there. I'm going to be there. If you have more questions, if you want to learn a little bit more, if you want to partner with us, please, here's Liz. She's in Canada. And you can please come and talk to us. And if you want to partner with us, please. And if you have more questions, I'm happy to answer all these questions. Thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Y. It was really a blessing to know, like, it was a reminder for us, like, when God calls us, it's the stepping out in faith. You weren't ready. No one's ever ready, but it's the availability and saying yes to God. So we've been very blessed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you,
If you have
Jesse.
questions, please visit his booth, their booth at the People International.
Thank you.
God bless everyone. You are welcome to stay for the second session here. It will be knocking on closed doors, bringing gospel to Russia. It will be in this room as well. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a blessed day. Thank you.
So I work with Filipinos,
Oh,
and they taught me a couple of words.
oh yeah, salamat.
Yeah,
Salamat
salamat.
is thank you.
And ay nako.
Ay nako is like,
Ay nako.
oh shoot, it's like, ay nako, oh shoot.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
how do you know? I'm Jess, by the way. What's your name?
I'm Joseph.
Joseph, nice to meet you,
Yeah.
Joseph.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
If you have any questions, I'm just roaming around too.
Yeah.
Here, thank you. Bye-bye.
Salamat.
Salamat. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Go ahead. It's okay. Is it afternoon? Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, how are you? I'll wait for everyone to be seated. Thank you. Hi, I'm Jessie. I'm one of the hosts here for Mission Fest Manitoba Breakout Sessions. How are you guys? Good, that's good. We're really grateful that you're here. It won't take me long to introduce our speaker for today. She is Albina Nikitina of Square One World Media. But before that, I would love to remind you guys to put your phones on silent mode. And this will be on live stream, just so you know your images will be live streamed as well. And if anyone is late, you can just kindly remind them that they can watch on YouTube as well. Thank you very much. Please welcome Ms. Albina Nikitina of Square One Media. Thank you. Square One World Media. Thank you so much.
Yes, hello. This is a great privilege for me to speak today. I feel very humble. I don't consider myself a big missionary or something, but so I'm very humble to share my story and what we're doing here in Winnipeg and doing around the world too. As the host just introduced me, my name is Albina, and I'm a Russian media producer at Square One World Media, and I'm leading a Russian language YouTube project, Ella's Backyard, I'm also a mother of 2 teenagers and a wife of a great man and a pastor, Dennis. Together with him, we are leading a Slavic community outreach here in Winnipeg. Today my topic is knocking on closed doors. And you know, whenever I travel somewhere, I really like to look at unique doors. I don't know, do you like unique doors? Especially if they're ancient and they might be massive and very curved and very interesting. And you know, when you come to some closed doors, you never know what is behind it. You could guess, but you don't know. Just a short story. Once traveling, we had to visit one house, one person, and we came to a very fine house. We knocked on a closed door. Fine man opened it, and he was very nice. We knew that we had to meet him, but it was our first time acquaintance, and so he invited us in for a cup of coffee, but as soon as we came into that fine house, it was totally a mess. You know, I have never seen a house in such a mess at that time. And that man was waiting for us. Like we didn't come unexpectedly, but there were all around cardboards and papers and plastic bags. And you know, the further we were coming into the house, the more mess it was. And you know, when I was thinking about this topic today and about Russia as a country, which doors are closing more and more with every year, I thought of this house because peeking behind these closed doors, sometimes for some people here in Canada, I've met those, Russia seems as a place where something good is happening. But if you peek behind those closed doors, it is like that mess in that house. And I hope that today I will just share something maybe new, maybe something that you know. I hope it will be interesting for you. Just before I speak more about Russia, I want to tell you more about myself and my story. So I was born and raised in Moscow in Russia. My mom, she's Ukrainian. My dad is a Muscovite. He was born in Moscow. I spent all my summer holidays in Ukraine. Ukraine is also my spiritual homeland because when I was 11 years old, I repented in a Christian camp in Ukraine, and so I always have my heart with it. And my parents also were always deeply involved in ministry. My father was a pastor for 40 years, and 30 years he was in Christian radio ministry production. So in the year 2000, my mother, both of my parents are here, so that's why I'm showing this direction. Yeah, so my mom, she received this vision from God that they should start a Christian radio, a Christian TV program for kids, and that they should do it with puppets. And so she shared with my dad, and at that time, my father, he was a radio producer. He had no experience with TV production. He didn't think that that would be possible, but he decided that they should pray about it. And when they started praying, things just started coming all together, because there were people who came into their life who knew about TV production. There came people who donated puppets, came people who just decided to pray. Some people decided to support. So everything was coming together. And at that time, I was still young. I had no desire to join my parents in whatever they were doing. But God had different plans for that. In the year 2005, I was still studying in university. I joined the team, and that became a passion of my life. I really love what I'm doing, and today Ella's Backyard is a YouTube channel where we share with kids and teens about Jesus Christ. We have a lot of different kind of projects that we have produced during these years, but right now we're producing a project. It's called Ella's Backyard Vlog, and it's an apologetic vlog for teens, kids and teens. And apologetic not because we're apologizing, but because we're trying to encourage children to read the Bible and to share why, how archaeology proves the Bible, how different scientists' discoveries prove the Bible, how prophecies have come true. So it is very inspiring to speak about this on YouTube through puppets. We have a great number of atheistic audience that comes to our channel. Some teens come to hate it. They don't cover that. But we are always glad when they come because this is a great opportunity to speak into their lives. And it's interesting how they start watching video after video after video, and then they start asking questions, and then it leads to some wonderful conversations. One of the great testimonies that really touch my heart and that inspires me is when one of our viewers came back to our channel, and he said, I was one of your haters, and I wrote all these bad and nasty stuff on your channel, but I'm very, very sorry today because a few months ago, my friend invited me to church, and when I went there, God touched my heart, and I repented, and now I'm a follower of Jesus. And you know, like when we produce something something online, we don't expect that everyone will repent right away, or that they will watch a video and repent. Although I should say that happens, and for example, my daughter, she asked Jesus to come into her life after watching YouTube Reels. Instagram Reels with different testimonies, and God spoke into her life through that. So God showed me, even through my daughter, that media is a very powerful thing that can change lives of people. Even we might not know about it. My daughter didn't write back on whatever reels she watched that they impacted her life, but I know that was true. Yeah, today our YouTube channel has 22,500 subscribers and more than 6 million views. We are growing, and who was on the previous session and listened about Kazakhstan? Kazakhstan is one of our main countries where we get our viewers from, and that's amazing. I was really inspired to hear that they were speaking before me because this is one of the countries we are also praying for and ministering to. We also have Muslim viewers, and just recently one of them also wrote a comment on our channel, like, thank you so much for the content you produce. From your channel, I could clearly understand what Christianity is about. This person is Muslim, but he is seeking answers. What is Christianity? Like, what did Jesus do? So that's what we want to share with people. Back to Russia and Russian-speaking people. It will give you a little bit sense of the audience and with whom we are working. So in Russia, there are three main religions: Christianity, Muslim, and Buddhism. But there is also another part is atheism, and although 66% of Russian people claim to be Russian Orthodox, the propaganda of Russian Orthodox Church is very high, and it's even here in Canada, I see a lot of information of that Russian people are very Orthodox, very religious, and so on. But I should say that 70 years of Soviet years and atheistic years, when all Christianity was forbidden, they have influenced the mentality of people so greatly that today I would say the main religion of Russian people is superstition. People know everything, why you should knock 3 times on wood or spit behind your shoulder, or what to do if you meet a woman with an empty bucket. They know everything about it, what will be the consequence if you don't do it. But if you ask them who is Jesus Christ, they might tell you, oh, please don't do this sect thing with me. So it's not about like speaking about Jesus with people. Even going to church often is a part of a superstition life, because if you did something bad and you go to church, then it will be better. If you sinned and you go to church and put a candle, you'll probably be forgiven. If you want some good luck in your life and you go to church, it will all come and everything will turn better. So people live in this, and maybe often question, like you would wonder, I don't know if you would wonder or not, but I sometimes wonder if a country that claims to be Orthodox and Christian, how could they start a war on their brethren country? And the war is very nasty and very cruel. And it's because Christianity is only a name. It's not something that has changed people inside. The percentage of Protestant churches is less than 2%, and it's all together: Baptists, Pentecostals, any other church that you might hear of. So. That's what's happening over there, and a nation that adored communism, that really loved atheism, and this whole ideology has never repented in what they did during the time of repression. And my great grandparents were persecuted for their faith. My grandfather was persecuted for his faith. My uncle was persecuted for his faith in Jesus Christ. So our family knows how it was, and there's a lot of stories that we know and that have been passed in our family because of the Soviet times. But the government and the country never repented in anything what they did. And by fact, today, they've said that we have done nothing wrong. They refuse to look back at the years of Stalin or any repressions that something wrong was happening there. So that's where the roots are coming from. Without repentance, there is no turning to something new and to something good. After 2014, 2016, Russia was passing several laws that restricted evangelism outside of church buildings and any kind of evangelism, actually. Even home groups, they are under a big question, because if somebody from your household doesn't like a home group, for example, there's like an unbeliever father or mother or anyone, or a very bad neighbor, and somebody reports to the police that you're gathering at this house, you could be fined or more than that. Also, after those laws, repression started on different pastors and ministers who were doing rehab centers. Some of those who were leading rehab centers got 5 to 7 years of prison. Even today, one of the pastors that we know is in jail and is under investigation, and they want to give him 7 years of prison just because when the war started, he preached that the Bible is teaching that we are peacemakers. And you know, this is what's is happening. Russian Orthodox Church is blessing people who are going to this war. They're blessing them, and they're saying that if you go and you get killed during the war, you will be saved. So this is something that should have never happened, but unfortunately it does. Also, Russia is closing the doors, and every month every time we hear something new happening. Unfortunately, in December, they blocked YouTube. And as you know, we're a YouTube channel, so for us it was a very big thing. But God is still opening some other doors. We've uploaded our content on a Russian platform, YouTube. We are still figuring out how it all works, but we're trying to find new platforms and new ways to reach to that part of the world. Also, I've mentioned a little bit about our Slavic outreach here in Winnipeg, and I want to share about that as well. Why do I want to share about it? Because when we it's actually amazing that Winnipeg has so many cultures and is so multicultural. Just recently we found out that there are over 100 languages just here in Winnipeg. So if you want to be a missionary and if you want to share the gospel with Russian-speaking people, you don't need to even travel to Russia or anywhere. You can find Russian people here, or Russian-speaking. I would like say more of Russian-speaking people because it's a wider audience. Probably you go into Costco or different stores and you hear someone is speaking some kind of Slavic language, and you could guess that it's Russian or Ukrainian. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So my husband and I, we came to Canada 5 years ago, and we didn't know if we could be any kind of helpful here in this city with any kind of ministry, well, except doing a YouTube channel that would go through internet. So we were like, well, what should we do? There were a lot of questions, but God had his answers. Last 4 years, my husband was a pastor of a Slavic evangelical church here in Winnipeg. Last year, God just showed us, well, it all started a little bit before when the war started and many Ukrainians were coming in. And you should understand that many Ukrainians are also Russian-speaking because we were neighbor countries and many of them learned Russian language in schools or lived on territories that used Russian language. So we saw that there's a big need for those newcomers, and we really wanted to connect and to share the gospel with them. So first we saw the need of just helping people with furniture or with some household items. Last year, God just showed us that there's like we need to do this great commission. We should boldly speak the gospel to people around, not just helping them out, but really sharing about the gospel. And this was really on our heart. The Slavic Evangelical Church is right now located at the west part of Winnipeg, but God just showed us that there are more than 5,000 Russian Ukrainian speaking people in the northeast of Winnipeg. While we were we did events throughout the year, in different apartment community rooms for them, but there was no opportunity to invite them to come to to church where they could understand the language, because the travel to the church would take 1.5 hours by bus. So God really put a heart on our heart that we should do ministry at the other part of the city. And there was a good team that was left in the Slavic Evangelical Church, but we last December we started this outreach for Ukrainian and Slavic people in the northeast of the city. And for us, practical things. How can we be this light, and how can we do outreach, like from just your point of view, just for like a regular person. I'm a regular person. I'm not like somebody that has different like degrees of how this should be done. So the things that we saw practically is, first, become a friend. If you see a person here in Winnipeg, any kind of nationality that you like, that you just want to minister to, it could be any kind, but I'm talking about Slavic people because they're more closer to me. Just become a friend. And because people who came here, they are in this big need of friendship. They want to communicate. They want to find connection and community. So for us as Christians, becoming a friend, this is a most important thing. When you become their friend, then they are ready to listen to what you want to share with them, what you want to tell them. They will look at your life, and I hope everyone understands when I say Slavic people, right? Or should I like comment on that? Because Slavic is a language group. I'm more speaking about that side. It's not a nationality. So when you like Slavic people, they're very different. They might sometimes seem very serious. They don't smile. Well, that's what a part of our culture is. Sometimes it's very hard for them to open up and to see and to open to connect with a person, because but when you become their friend, they are ready to listen. Second thing I want to share, and whoever is writing down, just write that down, because that's very important. People are not a project. And this is very important, because as soon as a person feels that they are a project for you, they don't want to connect anymore. But if you feel that this is real friendship, like you care about this person, if he goes to church or if he doesn't yet, or if he listens to your Bible stories or if he haven't started yet, if they feel that they are your friend and they can you want to listen to what is on their heart, then they will listen to what God has done for you and can do for them. And the third is, see their need. When we started this outreach, and as I said, there were times when we provided with some furniture or some household items. Right now, people need language. Many of the courses that were open for Ukrainian newcomers, they have, right now they're shutting down them. People, they feel that they have nowhere to go to practice their language, to grow in their language. So right now, if your church can open a course for Ukrainian newcomers to learn, for any kind of conversational class, you will have people coming in right away. Last Sunday, we just opened a course in Eastview Community Church with whom we are partnering right now. We just shared about this course, a conversational class in one small group. And right away, we had 36 people signing up for this class. Most of them are non-believers. We didn't even share on any Facebook Ukrainian groups, because if we did, the number would be much, much higher, and we would just not be able to take them all in. So this is very important. We're also doing a day camp on spring break, and as I said, we just shared. We didn't do any big advertisement. We just shared on one of the groups, and in 3 days we had 63 kids signing up right away. So this is amazing opportunity. People are looking for some help, for community, for where they can communicate. So if you can do that, please open your doors and open your hearts. That would be great. Also, people need encouragement and prayer. And so I have this lady that we met quite a while ago, and once I invited her to one of the prayer meetings. She's a non-believer. She was a non-believer. Now she is a Christ follower, and she was so touched when another woman just came in and said, "I want to pray for you." And she came up to me with tears and said, "Can you imagine? This person just prayed for me." And she was so inspired with that. And people are looking for a safe place to come with their need, and to feel that they won't get robbed or used, and they would get a good community around them. And last but not the least, and maybe the most important, people need God, and often they don't know about it. They know that they have problems, they know about their other needs, but they don't know that they need God. So I just want to inspire all of you. If your heart is all about mission and you want to share the gospel around the world and in your neighborhood, you can do that here in Winnipeg, in your own area. You can become a missionary right there, and you can also support ministries all around the world. And just 3 simple things. First of all, please pray for all the ministries that you see here around here. They all need your prayer. I need your prayer. We all need your prayers. And this is very important. With prayer, God can do a lot. If you can support, please support ministries. And remember, media is a great tool. And today, people watch Instagram, different social medias, Facebook, anything, YouTube, anything, you name it. And they watch it all around the world. So if you want to share the gospel through media, all you need sometimes is your phone. I know one old lady, I think she's around 70 years old, but she has her TikTok channel, and all she really does, she just records her life from time to time and shares it, and she has more than 15,000 followers just for doing that. Not just something great, but just for recording her life and sharing it with people. So I think all of you can do even greater things. So just remember that even you sharing something on social media can be a great impact on other people. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, please welcome to ask.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I'm pretty sure everyone are blessed here. One thing that really got impressed in my heart when I was listening to her was really the praying. Even Jesus prayed a lot, and he still prays for us and with us. So I hope that our foundation will always be to pray to Jesus, pray for one another. Let's just unite and be together praying for one another, because he opens doors even if it's closed, because he's the sovereign God. And let's continue to pray for the persecuted brothers and sisters in Christ. They need us, so we need one another. So thank you very much. And yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add and invite all of you, if you have a heart for Ukraine, for Russia, and if you worry about Canada as well, we're having a prayer vigil next Saturday at 3 p.m. in North Kazakhstan Mennonite Church, MB Church. So please join us. This is a great opportunity to spend an hour in prayer for these countries, and for Canada as well. We will be doing that too. So please come and join us.
And one more thing, God uses any platform, and one of it is social media, and we thank God for Square One World Media. Just don't give up. God can use any one of us. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, you can go to their booth. And for our next session, it will be Don't Change the Message, Change the Methods. It will be with Keen Jackson. You're very welcome to stay. Thank you very much. Have a great day. God bless.